Hello, beloveds. Welcome back to Women Warriors of the Word and today's 5 minutes of faith. I want to just share thoughts and, we all have that thing we're asking God for, that thing that we're waiting for Him, that we heard or we know He is going to provide, and we just don't have it yet. It could be a job or gaps in your finances to be closed. It could be the desire of a spouse. It could be the healing of your children. It could be your own healing. It could be all kinds of things. And that something that we just, Lord, where is it? And why isn't it here yet? And how much longer do I need to wait? Those are all really good questions. And we're allowed to ask. What's interesting is that God doesn't always tell us the reason that they're not ours yet. Sometimes we can look in scriptures and lay it out and understand that we've done something or are doing something so that there is a block in the spirit realm that isn't going to allow that to happen. I mean, we can't ask God to bless our finances if we are buying stuff that we're not supposed to and spending frivolously and aren't tithing. Those aren't actions God's going to bless. We can't go to God if we know we're harboring the choice not to forgive. Scripture tells us that blocks our relationship, that blocks what He can do. Choosing not to forgive is one of the biggest roadblocks in releasing God's promises. But what if you've done all that? What if for years you have given God your life and surrendered your will for His will? You have made those faith steps to say, okay, God, your word says to serve. I'm going to serve with 100% of who I am and give you every moment in between. Your word says to tithe, so here is my first 10%. Your word says to forgive, and so I have written a list of the people I need to forgive, and I have gone through and can now pray for them and honor them and speak life over them, and none of the negative emotions over those circumstances still apply today. And your promise still isn't here. Sometimes God's answer of wait is because He just wants to pour more of Him into us. That doesn't take our desire away. But something that I found interesting this weekend, and my pastor brought it up, and God moved through His word. Abraham's promise was a son, Isaac. And that very promise is what God asked Abraham to give him. Abraham had to become willing to give up his son, to sacrifice his son Isaac. And Abraham's belief was, if God is asking me to give him up and sacrifice Isaac, then God is going to bring him back to life. Many commentators and scholars believe that that's exactly what Abraham was thinking and believing, because Abraham tells his servants, Isaac and I are going up to the mountain and we will be back. So that desire or that dream or that promise that God gave you, that God gave me, that God gives all of us, that hasn't manifested, have you given it back to God? Have you said, here is my greatest desire, God, I'm giving it to you, trusting that you will bring it into fruition in your time? And I'm just going to focus on you. I'm not going to focus to the left or to the right. I'm not going to look behind me. I'm not going to look all around for how it's going to manifest or materialize. God, I'm going to put it on the altar. And I'm going to sacrifice my desire to you. Something interesting happens when we give God our greatest desires. we draw closer to Him. We stop being distracted by our desire and start being attracted to God. So I want to encourage you, daughters, whatever you are clinging to the most, put on the altar and give it to God. And then just focus on Jesus. Don't act so that God can react, so that God can bless. Just surrender yourself. Surrender all of your desires and see what God will do. Walk by faith, knowing that He will provide everything He promises. Until next time, be a faith walker.